The thing I really love about watching Komi Can't Communicate is how, no matter what happens on screen, you know, one of two things is always going to occur. You're either going to melt at the sweet and adorableness that is just Komi coming out of her shell, interacting, doing things more and more, as you also have the kind of relationship blossoming between her and Tadano, which is always going to be the sweetest thing ever. Or you're going to get the most WTF, hilarious moment that you're probably going to see all day, potentially all week. One of those two things is always going to happen. Now, sometimes they do mix them into one package, but you know you're going to leave laughing or melting, and I mean, that's why I love shows like Kaguya-sama Love is War, Komi Can't Communicate, the list kind of goes on. And watching the past two episodes, as I got a little busy last Friday, so honestly, my busyness was I was just playing Pokemon, alright? I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but still, your boy has desires. So we're doing a double review here, and honestly, like, it's really impossible for it to fall in any other way, because watching episodes 6 and 7 back to back, unlike past Komi Can't Communicate episodes, despite there being an overall kind of plot of the progression of the characters, these episodes were kind of all about building up to summer vacation and then being in summer vacation and having the loneliness and them wanting to kind of like do things together, as you have the entire crew, including the ninja boy, pop up, and you have the most wild and wacky adventures ever. I think building up last week with the whole idea of the library and the librarian who will literally beat you black and blue 3 times and then you're out. The character design didn't need to be as extreme as it did. Like, they could have had like a very nice old woman literally beat characters like Osana 3 times over the head, like Looney Tunes Lump style, but the over-the-top, like, honestly would give JoJo villains a run for their money was everything I didn't know I wanted, but I absolutely needed, because certain characters would clearly study and others would want to play Jenga or board games, things like that, and to have just like the situation, because the whole idea now is that Komi, despite, you know, maybe wanting to study and be a good girl sometimes, when other people around her, her friends, are wanting to play, she wants to be there because she really never got to do that because people either worshipped her or didn't understand her. And usually it was a bit of both. And to see how, I mean, one of my favorite parts of episode 6 is that Komi ends up getting a haircut, right? She goes to a hairdresser who very much understands her without her needing to speak, recognizes that, you know, some people have a hard time communicating, as you have, like, the apprentice, you know, pretty much going complete and utter psycho. But the fact of the matter is like, for, even if, like, the anime viewer, like, had we not seen that, I wouldn't have been able to tell she got a haircut either. But the only person who noticed was Tadano. And Tadano is one of those characters who, he sometimes says some things that maybe will make you raise an eyebrow, like, you know, when he's discussing his newfound kink with the hair in his face. But ultimately, I mean, he clearly has Komi's best interest in heart more so than anyone else. It's not to say, like, she doesn't have other friends outside of Tadano. It's just the difference between him always really understanding her as a person, and when he doesn't, he makes sure that, you know, he's with her so she can, you know, be able to express her feelings, whether it's through a phone call or writing it down, or sometimes actually being able to say something face to face. To have all the characters like kind of freak out, being like, I can't believe we didn't notice she didn't have a haircut, like nothing seemingly changed, because they just worship her or put her on this pedestal, where someone like Tadano clearly, like, does put her high up and probably cares for her more than anyone else, but she's a person first and foremost, and I think that's why she always feels the most comfortable with him. I like the scene where they're at the pool and ultimately, like, she's having a lot of fun, but then she has a little injury, so she can't go back in the pool, but she doesn't want everyone else to basically sacrifice their day and then hate her. So, you know, pretty much what Osana is saying, it makes sense, but Tadano knows, like, she doesn't want to feel left out. So the fact that he went back there and just, it's nice, right? You always get those moments that really show you, like, even if you have characters who you like more than Tadano, you can't deny that the one who makes Komi the most comfortable and connects with Komi the most is clearly this boy. I mean, that was the one who she wanted to call. If it wasn't for, you know, Osana making the kind of group effort of, like, bringing everyone together in summer vacation, she would have called him. Like, you just really get that connection that just makes it so wholesome and makes it feel like it has a story arc rather than it just being situational events of a girl who can't communicate. Though the thing that kind of caught my eye the most in the latest episode was meeting her father, because we met her mother, right? She was the complete opposite of what I thought she was going to be, because initially when they introduced the mother, I was like, oh, she's going to be a very timid and quiet character as well. Nope, complete opposite, very high energy, and very much loves her daughter. But then you get the father, who is exactly what I thought the mother was originally going to be, someone who barely communicates. And I was like, oh, does he have like a communication problem as well? And technically he does, but it seems more so he just has a hard time expressing himself, but he can clearly do it a bit more, at the very least, compared to what we've seen Komi be able to do out loud. It took them a while, but, you know, the idea that they just kind of sat there, they can understand each other without saying things, but still, he wants to ask her how school's been and things like that. And it was just a really sweet moment, and I like seeing more of her family, kind of having that super high-energy mother figure, very kind of like, oh my god, he's gonna kick her ass, he looks pissed off, nope, he's actually a really nice guy, he just doesn't really speak all that much, and you can really tell where Komi got it from, and it'll be fun to see because, I mean, she's very much like coming out of her shell, the fact that they were surprised that she wanted to go to the library by herself. There's just a lot of really, really nice moments, and even the idea of like them picking out like a new outfit for her to wear, they're all kind of going absolutely extreme, and the one that she picked, to no one's surprise, the person who put her interests first rather than their own fetishes was Tadano, and that's the one she liked and continued to wear in all those different sequences. Seriously, like, Komi Can't Communicate is just an absolute breath of fresh air for the kind of like slice of life kind of romance, will they, won't they sort of genre, because it has all the comedy you love and need. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's certain characters that I still think need to be thrown in the slammer. You literally have this girl admit that she was stalking. Usually in moments like those, you'll have characters be like, oh, I was just trying to express my love. No, she straight up says, like, she was stalking, so, like, my point stands, she needs some therapy and, you know, maybe some padded rooms. Maybe not necessarily a jail cell, but maybe some padded rooms. But besides, like, some very select instances of maybe the dog wanting to be walked, or the stalker who you wonder if gonna pull a knife, there is those moments that are more on the extreme side that you do at the very least appreciate that they're on your side rather than against you, like the fact that an entire group wanted to kill the side of the pool that hurt Komi, and I'm like, you can't make this shit up. I mean, it's hard to sell like moments like those to someone who hasn't seen Komi, but anyone who's seen a few episodes of Komi knows why that's such a hilarious and perfect moment for the anime. I mean, we're getting closer and closer to being done the first season, and that's definitely sad, but I like how different each episode has felt despite having the same type of formula more often than not. It definitely feels like progression is being made. I imagine we'll get kind of like a fireworks festival episode before the show completely wraps up. That's typically where they go. With a show like this, I mean, seriously, this show doesn't miss. The characters remain great, even if it's one-off, like the librarian who will beat you literally to death if you disrupt the library's flow. It's just really, really nice to see how Komi is really becoming a person and feeling a lot more confident despite still having a long way to go. But let me know your thoughts and feelings on either the last episode or this latest one that I'm covering down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.